Hi there, welcome to my channel where females learn about their bodies and optimize their health. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to track your cycle. If you're asking why do I need to track my cycle, go back and watch my last video where I told you why it is so important and all the benefits of tracking your cycle. So this whole thing here is what we're going to be gisting about today, and how to be able to personalize it to fit your own personal menstrual cycle. Every single female is unique. What your sister's menstrual cycle will be might have nothing to do with what yours is like. So just personalize this video and know that this is for you and you alone. So there are three things we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be learning how to calculate your cycle length, how to calculate your menstrual length, and also how to calculate your ovulation. These three things are so important. When I tell you about your fertile period, when your chances of getting pregnant are high, and your safe period, where your chances of getting pregnant are low, these three things are going to be key to a lot of that information. So just learn these three things in this video and you would find the other videos easy and easy to understand. So we're going to start with your cycle length. How long does my cycle last? This is so important for you to know. And by cycle, I mean this whole thing that we spoke about in a previous video, basically. This whole thing, not just the bleeding. Some people think menstruation is the same as menstrual cycle. It is not. Menstrual cycle is a whole lot of things happening in your body, and menstruation is just a small part. So we're now asking the question, how long does it take for all these things to happen inside of me? Okay, so what you're going to do to calculate this is, if your period starts today, so if you start bleeding today, you pick your calendar and you take the first day of this period, and then you take the first day of the next period, and that is your cycle length. So if your period starts today and you take here, and the next time your period starts, you take here, that is a 28-day cycle, because the first day was 1, the next time is 28. So the amount of days between these two periods is 28. So it takes 28 days for all that drama to happen inside your body, basically. So let me give you another example, and you can try this one out yourself to see if you get it. So let's say your cycle starts today and you have a 32-day cycle. So can you pause this video now and calculate when your next period is going to start? If your cycle starts on the 5th and you have a 32-day cycle. So I'll let you do that. Perfect. If you got the 5th, you are correct, because the amount of days between here and here is 32 days. So it's basically just tracking the time between this period and your next period. So for our last example, so you can get this crystal clear, let's say your period starts today and you have a 23-day cycle. When will your next period start? So pause this video and tick that. Your next period will start on the 28th. Perfect. So now that you know how long your cycle lasts, I'll now be telling you to learn how long your menstruation lasts. Menstrual cycle is the time between this period and the next. Menstruation is how long the bleeding lasts. So if you start bleeding today, when does it stop? And that is what menstruation is. Like I said, the menstrual cycle is this whole thing, all the things happening in your body, this whole thing. But menstruation is just this tiny phase of blood on your pad. So that's what we're going to be taking. But first, let's recap what we've done before. Let's say you have a 28-day cycle. This is day 1. When will the next period start? 28. So that means this is a 28-day cycle. And let's say this person has a 4-day menstruation. Then you now calculate 1. I'm bleeding today. I'm bleeding tomorrow. I'm bleeding on Sunday. I'm bleeding on Monday, but my bleeding stops on Monday. So that will make this a 28-day cycle and a 4-day menstruation. So the next thing is a 32-day cycle. So we already did this too, but if you want to pause again and take when you think the next period will be. So if it's 2 days cycle, that's from the 5th to this. And let's say this person has a 7-day menstruation. So I want you to pause now and tell me where they will take for their menstruation length now. So pause this video and do that. Perfect. They're going to pick 11th, because the time between here and here is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means this person was bleeding for a whole 7 days, and they will have a 32-day cycle and a 7-day menstruation. So the next thing is 23 days. So you can pause this video, like I said, and calculate that, so you can know how to. You can be a master of calculating cycle length. Perfect. So the time between here and here is 23 days. And let's say they have a 3-day menstruation. Where do you think they will take for their menstruation length? Perfect, because it's 1, 2, 3. So that's just it. It's so easy. Now that you know how to calculate your cycle length and your menstruation length, I'm not going to be teaching you the holy grail, how to calculate your ovulation. Ovulation is when an egg is released from the ovary, and this is the hallmark of fertility. No woman can get pregnant without ovulation. There are other methods. Let me not go into that. But what makes pregnancy possible normally is ovulation. Once that egg comes out, the sperm can meet it and a baby can be formed and new life can begin, basically. So this ovulation is key. And how do you do this? I've already taught you how to calculate your cycle length, which is from this period to the next period. So now you're going to remove 14 from your cycle length, and that will tell you when you're ovulating. Don't worry about your fertile period. Don't worry about your safe period. That's what we're talking about in my next video. But just get, if you can understand your cycle length, your menstrual length, and your ovulation, you would learn so much that you can't even imagine. Just understand these three things. So like I said, for ovulation, you calculate your cycle length, then you remove 14 from it, and that will tell you when you're ovulating. So we already looked at how to calculate the cycle length, and we spoke about how to calculate menstruation. This is what we're focusing on now, how to know when you're ovulating. So let's start with our 28-day cycle, which is the average. There's so many, or most women have a 28-day cycle. So you take care. I'm not going to waste time on this again. So this is a 28-day cycle. So how do we find out when this person is ovulating? You say 28 minus 14. So if you say 28 minus 14, you count forward. So on day 14 of this cycle, that is when the egg is going to be released, and that's that about that. So let's look for another example. We have a 32-day cycle. That's from 5th to 5th. So if you subtract 14, what does that give you? That gives you 18. And how do you now fit this 18 into this? Because it's not as straightforward as the last example. So you just calculate from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So ovulation is going to happen around this time. So this last example, I'm going to leave it for you to shine. A 23-day cycle, and from here to here is 23 days. Can you tell me when this person is going to be ovulating? So pause this video right now and do your calculations and tell me the day this person is going to be ovulating. Perfect. On day 9, so you calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there you have it. That is when this person is going to be ovulating. So just understand these three things: cycle length, menstrual length, and ovulation. And when I'm teaching you your safe period, I'm going to tell you every other thing you need to know. But if you can know how to calculate these three things, like you're already a boss on this topic of menstrual cycle, you can start teaching everyone around you. Yeah, so now that we understand that, there's something very, very important we have to consider in this video: FBI training. When you need to see a doctor. Now that you have all this information in your head, like what's good is it to you as regards your health? The first thing is your cycle length. Sorry about that. The first thing is your cycle length. If your cycle length is less than 21 days or greater than 40 days, I advise you to go and see a doctor. And that's the reason being, the average should be between these two, but obviously there are always some outliers. When you get to the hospital, you'll be screened and told, okay, it's normal, you can go. But if your period is coming less than 21 days, I beg you, go to the hospital. Let's take, for example, your period starts today, and the next time you're seeing your period is in like 17 days. That is a lot of blood loss, depending on how much blood you're losing, but that is a very short interval for your body to be able to recuperate. And also 40 days, let's say you see your period today, then you don't see it for the next 3 months. I advise you to go to the hospital as well. If you see it today, the next time you're seeing it, maybe 45 days or 50 days, go to the hospital and get checked out. It might be nothing, like I said, but just have them look around and look at some things that might be causing this, things that can be treatable and all that. And why I want you to take your cycle very importantly is that it's a reflection of your fertility. So if there's anything wrong with your fertility, you can catch it early before you're even ready to start having children, and before you're ready to go down that line. And when the time comes, you don't have anything like disturbing you there, basically. So the next thing is your cycle length, how regular it is. If you look at nature, things are quite regular. You know when the sun is going to come out, you know when the moon comes out, you know when it's raining season, you know when it's going to be summer. And that's why the farmers, because I'm in Ileife right now, the farmers know when to go and plant, they know when to harvest, we know when it's corn season, we know when it's mango season, and everybody, like, we arrange our lives around the predictability of nature, and that's why it's so beautiful. And that's the same thing for the menstrual cycle. It is supposed to be predictable and regular to an extent, but if you're having a cycle that is not regular at all, sorry about that, I advise you to go to the hospital. So let's take, for example, your cycle is lasting 23 days this month. The next month is lasting 35 days. Then the month after is lasting 17 days. And it's just moving helter-skelter, and you can't even keep track because you just know your period comes whenever it wants to come. That is not supposed to be so. So I advise you to go to the hospital and get checked out. It might be normal, but just have somebody look around for all the culprits that can be causing wahala down there and tell you, okay, this is normal, you can go. I'm going to be talking to you about things that can actually cause irregularities in your cycle in another video, but I advise that if you notice that this is something that's normal for me, that my cycle just does whatever I want, I advise you to get checked out. Something might be causing that. So the third thing I'm going to talk about that you need to have in mind is your menstruation. Is your menstruation increased or decreased? This one is unique to you, baby girl. This one is unique to you. It has nothing to do with anyone. If your period normally lasts for like 3 days and you're bleeding for 3 days, and in a day you use maybe 2 pads, and all of a sudden you're noticing that your period is now lasting for 6 days, and one day you're using 5 pads and you're feeling dizzy, go to the hospital immediately. If before you used to bleed for like maybe 4 days and use 3 pads every day, and now you're now noticing that you're bleeding for just 1 day and panty liner is enough, oh yeah, go to the hospital immediately before we even say anything. And please, when you start noticing your menstruation is reducing or increasing, don't ask anybody around. Don't ask any girl like, is this normal? How many days do you do your own? No, it has nothing, like, this is unique to you. It has nothing to do with another person's own. What is normal for them is normal for them. What is normal for you is normal for you. It is not the same in every woman. Like I said, how you know if your menstruation is increased or decreased is not like this one I said 21 days, 35 days. It's not the same for everybody. It's different. It depends on what is unique to you. Yeah, so that is that. Up next, I'm now going to be telling you about your fertile versus your safe period, when your chances of getting pregnant are high and when they are quite low. And then you can tailor this to your lifestyle and walk around that. Yeah, so welcome back to my channel again, where females learn about their bodies and optimize their health. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section and I'll be sure to get back to you. And yeah, this was fun. See you on my next video. Bye.